The sky so far, but I can't lose it.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another season of official IndyCar coverage. Delighted to be back for 12 weeks and a brand new championship fight thanks to the very generous contribution of an anonymous community member. My name is Arjuna Kenkipati. Alongside was meant to be Lorenzo Bonder, but he's not feeling so well, so he'll be recovering before returning for activities from our first road course race next week. Very interesting championship is on the cards then. Brandon Traino, the two-time Indy 500 race champion. Well, guess what? He's now an IndyCar iRacing Open champion, not in one car, not in two cars, but in 3 different generations of the Dallara IndyCar on the iRacing service, dethroning Adam Blocker, a very dominant driver in the past, but Brandon Traino really did secure an impressive championship last time out. Round 1 here at Auto Club then, and we race under the night lights as qualifying begins. Live timing available at RaceSpotTV/Indy through our partners at timing71.org. TV cameras provided for today's broadcast by Istvan Ballo and TrackCams22.com. Additional car cameras provided by RaceSpot's own Tyler Maxson. Here is a look at our schedule coming up. 12 weeks. Delighted to have coverage of each of these on a Monday night. Today is the first race, not just of the season, but of the entire iRacing season as well. The build has just switched over into week 1, and so drivers in our strength of field race look at this championship picture. That was the over-under question being posed in our IndyCar community Discord. How many times do I mention the Nordschleife? Let's get it out of the way once to start with. Round 2, we will head there. Very excited about that. We will break world records. Yes, we will, Jacob. Before we head in a couple of weeks' time to Twin Ring Motegi, Long Beach for round 4, Barbara Motorsports Park, a classic for round 5. That should match up with the real-life series as well. Then the Milwaukee Mile, Texas Motor Speedway, 2 ovals in a row, delighted about that. And Circuit of the Americas, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. First up, the GP configuration. We'll have a week off as we head to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That will be a very interesting race, especially as tires start to fall off. And then the big one, round 11, we head to the Brickyard. That should be the week after the iRacing Indy 500, so we'll know who's our brand new champion. Can Traino go 3 for 3? And we'll round out our season at the street of Detroit Belle Isle. It was an interesting race last night in the Indy Elite Series, but into official competition we go. 90 seconds left on qualifying. Delighted you can join us to kick off another 12-week run to a champion being crowned. Adam Blocker returns to the top of the timing sheet. You can see some interesting faces behind. Marco Brazil, Team Maxson's representative in the series. In the 10 car, you got Henry Bennett in 3rd. He'll be looking for a strong performance. And then your champion, Traino in 4th, his teammate in 5th, and another teammate behind them. In fact, you know what? 4th through 8th position right now. All i5G drivers. Very, very interesting. Great to see, by the way. Both Powerslide Motorsports and Apex Racing Team / the Indy 500 group bringing their drivers back into the series. Round 1 at Auto Club, always an interesting one. And it is good to see as well a new season lots of intrigue into this car. I do believe upwards of 3 splits, maybe even 4. But we do have 24 Dallara IR18s ready to take to this track, just 2 miles in length. Now let's see how this one works out under the night lights. Who else am I watching on this list that I'm curious about? Ooh, interesting. Andreas Eek all the way back in 16th position, along with Jason Brophy, Matt Hollabo, Victor Santos. Then you got the likes of AJ Musselman, Tyler Russell, and Tyler Dubois. Big field, and delighted about it. Qualifying comes to a close, then let's go trackside for the first time this season. Get those trumpets ready to play, and take a look at the starting grid here from Auto Club. On pole position, Adam Blocker, he looks to reclaim his crown, a 31.922, a statement to start this season off. Marco Brazil on his outside, Henry Bennett makes it 2 Powerslide Motorsports drivers in the top 3. Defending champion Brandon Trainer on the outside of row number 2, and look at the train of cars behind him. All teammates, Demerit Burden, row 3, row 4, Pavelski, Lichtenberg, and then you go back to row 5. Vilda Wallen for 3 Crowns Racing alongside Alexis Newsom in the 21 car. Edge of the top 10. Row 6, Adrian Pinarino and Andrew Marquez for Loose Nut Racing. Andrew Wood for Team Talent in 13th position. Chris Wilhite, great to see him back on a Monday night in 14th. Marcel Kovacs, new to the series. Good to see a number of new faces as well. He'll be alongside Andreas Eek, Jason Brophy 17th. Matt Hollabo back in 18th position. Such a long team name that he breaks our race graphics slightly. Victor Santos, AJ Musselman, Tyler Russell, Tyler Dubois, final cars set qualifying lap times. A last row of the grid, Robert Malcheka and Oscar C, 23rd and 24th, and no times being set there. It is going to be a very fun run down to the streets of Belle Isle. It's a long season, don't get me wrong, and I'm excited about kicking this season off with some very interesting races. Under the night lights, pack racing expected. And Adam Blocker, Brandon Trainer will do battle once more. Pace car pulls away and the cars begin to roll. This will be a very, very interesting 100-lap race. 200 miles on the agenda. Fuel strategy will come into effect. Tire strategy might, but I do have a feeling with relatively cool track conditions, it will not be the biggest factor in the world. There are the track conditions. They're as cold as it can get. 18 degrees track temperature, 18 degrees in the air as well. Lots of power on offer for these engines. Lots of speed to be found as well from maximum grip available. 86% humidity, excuse me. That won't necessarily impact things too much. Watch for that wind to gust around then as well. The trumpets come to an end. We're about to go green flag racing. 200 miles on the agenda to kick off 12 weeks and a run to another championship. Brandon Trainer broke the stranglehold of Powerslide Motorsports. For 3 years they ruled the top of this series, but it's great to once again be focusing in on championship fights. We're glad you're joining us here on a Monday night on RaceSpotTV. Lots of oval action to get to. First here, it's official competitions. Shortly after this, Sim Seats and the Real Sim Racing Cup Series will get underway, and then the Lionheart Speedway Series to close off the night. The pace car down onto the safety of pit road. Adam Blocker picks up the throttle. His teammate follows behind him. And let's go green flag racing then to kick off a new season. Field thunders away out of turn 2. Speeds already in excess of 350 kilometers an hour. I love to see this wheel-to-wheel racing at high speeds. Marco Brazil down the inside. He'll lead here at the Auto Club Speedway for lap number 1, but Powerslide 2 and 3, and we'll wait for the i5G teammates to stack up as well. Great to see competition between these two teams, and almost 3 wide for a moment as Adam Blocker tries to find some clean air working through turn 1 and 2. The group of cars behind them is really starting to lose out here. You can see the visual separation between Brandon Traino and his championship rival Adam Blocker in front of him, but through the turn 3 and 4 complex we work to complete lap number 2. Andrew Wood as well tries to get to the inside of Vilde Wallen in the Three Crowns Racing machine. Brazil defends the inside and Adam Blocker tucks up behind him for a moment, splits the middle 3 wide. Adam Blocker into the lead of the race, feeds a lot of dirty air there to Brazil for a second. He washes up the track, and now the group of cars behind starts to build on the top 3 contenders. On board we should jump with Christopher Demerit, and actually no, let's jump on board with AJ Burden right behind him. He searches for the clean air, and you get a great look here with the i5G driver and just how chaotic this is going to be. We're only working lap 4 out of 100, and you can see already teammates once again side by side for the race lead. So Bennett and Blocker 1 and 2 now. Let's look further back and see what happened to some of the team talent machines as Blocker back down the inside up into the race lead. There is Andrew Wood to the inside of Andrew Marquez. Behind him, Jason Brophy in the bright yellow machine. They're squabbling over 13th, 14th, and 15th respectively. You can see here Andrew Wood fairly content to ride around where he is. Goes all the way to the high line trying to find some clean air. Purple car in front of him, that's Chris Wilhite that gets caught out by, I think, some dirty air from in front of him. You can see 2 wide, 2 deep as they dive through turn 3. Adrian Pinarino, Alexis Newsom side by side. Behind them, Wilhite and Wallen still scrapping it out. Very interesting dynamic at this point in time. Great aerial look that we'll get here as you see the cars streak their way down into turn 1. And with such cool conditions, you do have to wonder how long these tires will actually grip up for, because my expectation might be that we get some rather long green flag runs if this continues. Look off the rearward shot then of Adam Blocker. His teammate will tuck in behind, and Marco Brazil tries to close in as well. You can see the draft and the effect that it has. Blocker just pulls to that outside line, lets his teammate go down to the inside, and stays right where Brazil wants to be. That helps Brandon Traino very slightly. And Traino tries to close in. On board, let's jump then with Brandon Traino from the cockpit view. You can see Brazil in front, ducking and weaving, trying to find a way past the teammates. He'll try and slide past Bennett through turn 4. Bennett's able to hold on. What can Traino do now is Marco Brazil, who has a tendency to maybe trim out his cars more than others, might start to struggle in the dirtier air. Traino will look to the inside here. Great onboard look. I really do love these onboard cameras that we get, but you can see not close enough, and once again in front Brazil tries to find a way past. He'll look to the inside, lots of momentum as Blocker will block him all the way to the inside as well. 3 wide, and Brazil will make this one work and slide his way up into the race lead. Traino and Demerit, they're very happy to see this happening, as is AJ Burden, Matt Pavelski, Brendan Lichtenberg. They make it Team I5G 4th through 8th, and with Power Slide 2 and 3, the top 10 cars represented by just about 4 teams at this point in time. Incredible. Absolutely incredible right now. Not even 10% into this race, and 3 wide in towards turn 3. We dive once more. Ooh, Bennett is actually going to slide up into the path of his teammate. Not sure they're going to appreciate that so much, but look who's now on the rear end of these cars. All of the i5G teammates, they're stacked up and looking for an opportunity. Blocker back into the race lead. He'll dive to the inside, feed dirty air to Marco Brazil, who washes up the track. Here comes Brandon Traino down to the inside then, trying to get up into the podium positions for the first time today. And Demerit will come around the outside. That's what I was talking about. Brazil sometimes can get swarmed at this point in time. Let's watch if he's able to use his in-car tools to manage the teammates as they swarm around his outside. Across the start-finish line to complete lap 9 out of 100. What? No, lap 10 rather, excuse me. So officially 10% done with this race. Brazil's going to drop down into 7th, and I think the dirty air that he's got in front of him, you can see the effect that that's had. Unfortunate then for Brazil. He's got to defend from behind still. Lichtenberg will look to try and take advantage. Left-hand side of the screen, let's take a look at the movers and shakers in today's race. Incredible stuff here from Tyler Russell. Didn't set a qualifying lap time, finds himself now up into the top 10. And what's on the cards then for a driver that really has rocketed their way up through the field? On board with the 17 will look. Marco Brazil still stuck on the inside line. The momentum from Russell, and he's going to tuck in behind. Very, very smart driving here. He'll continue working this outside line. Maybe that's why he's been such a big mover. He's found a line that clearly works for him. Up into 8th position he goes. He's sniffing down a top 5, you know. Andrew Marquez at the tail end of a small train of cars. Vilde Wallen in 15th position. Side by side with Andreas Eek as you take a look at those two cars scrapping it out. Hollabo will come around the outside as well. Working 13 laps on these tires now. Can see that setups are starting to play a bit more of a factor because Marco Brazil now finds himself struggling very much so in the dirty air here. You can see he's trying to search for the crumb that he can find. Pavelski is feeding him more dirty air in front of him. It's going to give Andrew Wood the opportunity to try and make a move to the inside. Still teammates swapping it back and forth for the race lead. Currently it's Henry Bennett in the British Racing Green that leads, but from the rearward shot, let's look from Adam Blocker. He is not your 21 Season 1 champion, rather. That's the car behind him. You can see now, Power Slide 1-2, I5G 3-4-5-6. It's a lot of work for the Power Slide duo to do. We say green flag, though. Might just end up in their favor. Really interesting stuff on the edge of the top 10. Andrew Wood stuck behind Adrian Pinarino. Marco Brazil has been able to hold on to 9th position right now. You can see the I5G teammates looking down to the inside. Not as many cars further back committing, but there you can see. That's Adrian Pinarino looking to the inside of Matt Pavelski and Marco Brazil. He'll get one of them. I don't know if he'll get both. Brazil will look to try and get it back, but unfortunately for him, Pinarino does have the position. Brazil has to defend from Andrew Wood. Feeds him a lot of the dirty air. Pinarino will get the position, and meanwhile behind them, Alexis Newsom, Andrew Wood side by side. Incredible stuff from the Texas native here, Tyler Russell. Rips the outside line. He's in 6th position right now, battling with some of the strongest drivers this car has to offer on the iRacing service. On board we look as he finds that clean air on the outside of Christopher Demerit. Side by side, Trano and Adam Blocker, they battle for second. Blocker able to hold on for now. Very entertaining stuff to kick off a new season. And if you want to stay tuned for more, reminder, you can follow us on RaceSpotTV for more sim racing action. A couple of oval races to come after this one has completed. And at RaceSpotTV across of all social medias. Tyler Russell into the top 5. Incredible. I cannot speak highly enough to the way that he sliced and diced his way up through the field. I wonder if he's going to be the one able to challenge the Power Slide domination out front. Trano has not been able to do too much, and as Tyler Russell still works that outside line, Trano finds his teammate behind, actually giving him a bit of a helping hand. Marco Brazil still side by side with Adrian Pinarino. The two Brazilians enjoying this scrap. Brazil getting a little bit loose on the inside. Alexis Newsom tries to run that outside line. Brazil down into 11th out of the top 10. Disappointing opening stint for him. Still a long way to go. Bennett will pass his teammate once more. Tyler Russell up into third, and can he get up into second as well? So much speed as compared to the cars in front of him. Almost 10 kilometers an hour faster than Adam Blocker, exiting turn number 4. He'll poke his nose to the outside then. 3 wide as we dive in towards turn 1. Adam Blocker is going to slide all the way up the track. I don't know if his teammate will be too happy with that. You can see behind Tyler Russell though, I5G was looking good for them after shuffling Brazil out of the top 5. Tyler Russell is going to be a spoiler for 5 cars that are stacked up behind, all the way from Trainer to Pavelski. You have those cars. Andrew Wood, first car down onto pit road. I wonder if Wood has hit the wall. Let's try and spool up a replay here if we can, and see exactly what's happened to Andrew Wood. Here comes the RaceSpotTV replay up on your screens. Oh, and you catch the tail end of it there. He does come up into the wall, and his teammate Brophy slips it down the inside. Jump back a little bit further if we can. There you can see Wood just a little bit high. This is exiting turn 2, so we jumped back a little bit further, but on board Let's Ride with a Team Talent driver. And see a lot of commotion in front of him, and this was when Marco Brazil lost out a little bit. Wood just, with that dirty air, nowhere to go, up into the wall for the number 24 car. Fitting then, he's also in 24th place. Might not be so disappointed. He won't be losing as many iRating as some of these other guys might. Look at this racing. Tyler Russell very much on the rear wing of Henry Bennett. Brandon Trainer likes this. Closes in once again. We're about a quarter of the way into this one. Let's jump around the track for a couple of sights and sounds and see what these cars are looking like around this wonderful 2-mile circuit. Some great track cameras provided by Istvan Ballo and Track Cams 22. Some great car cameras provided by RaceSpot's own Tyler Maxson. Battle for this podium is really starting to heat up, and, well, it's anyone's game at this point in time. Top 20 separated by just 5 seconds on track. Tyler Russell, who notice, still working that outside line. As someone in our YouTube chat does point out, yes, unfortunately, this great track, which no longer hosts official IndyCar competition in the real world, will be converted to a short track in a couple of years' time. Of course, all of the commotion of the last 12 months has meant that the track is going to get a 1-year reprieve. We will return for the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022 to the traditional layout, but in 2023, this track will very much be a very different place to come back and visit. Across the line, Henry Bennett works to lead lap 27. Almost too wide, too deep. The top 5 have broken away from Christopher Demerit very slightly. But you can see there is not much the visual separation. It'll just take one opportunity for some of these cars to be right back into the fight. It's really been the power slide drivers up front going back and forth for the race lead. Someone that's still committed to the inside line, very interestingly, is Brazil. In the 10 car, he's worked himself back up into the top 10, but you can see with 3 cars right in front of him, is in that tricky position of just trying to find whatever morsel of clean air you can get. Jason Brophy, Alexis Newsom, they're side by side as Brophy tries to work his way up through the field after a very disappointing qualifying performance for him. He had a very impressive debut in the Lionheart IndyCar Series a week ago or so at the Homestead Miami track. Struggling a little bit more here today. At the front then, still Blocker and Bennett side by side. Russell really is the main competitor at this point. And you know what? After starting at the tail end of the field, I am very, very impressed. You can see then the positions gained. Up 18 positions. Started all the way back in 21st. Maybe qualified on his race set, you know. But clearly the race set has pace. And Tyler Russell really is duking it out with some of the best in the virtual Indy cars. Chris Wilhite, he was in a fun little fight for third place in the championship for much of last season. Very much a specialist on the ovals, the Ohio native to the inside of Vilda Wallen. Ooh. What's just happened to the muscle man? The replay machine does not miss much. Ooh, unfortunate. Something big has happened there for AJ Musselman. We'll spool it back slightly further and see if we can pick this one up. Oh, you can see the damage has already been done. Very lucky to have not been under caution then. Spool it back even further if we can, Mr. Replay. There we go. As we'll look at this onboard look with AJ Musselman. Ooh, a big slide through the middle of the corner. One more look at it here. You'll see as he slides up the track, the tires also seem to slide out from underneath him. And once that car was lost from underneath him, I don't think there was much he can do. We'll jump back to live pictures and look around at the front of your field. But wow, big issue there. Not what I expected. Working lap 33, so 1/3 into this race, and I'm going to knock on all the wood that I can around me. I hope you can't hear that because this has been great. Green flag stuff, very exciting racing, big movers and shakers, new championship competitors to think about. Got my words mixed up there. And of course, with this being the first of a 12-race season, and the first of many races this week at Auto Club, could watch out for some big things happening. Marco Brazil down onto pit road, then he's committed very early. Let's see where he feeds out in comparison to his competitors. You can see there Brazil will go at least one lap down. Reminder, by the way, live timing and scoring is available at RaceSpot.wtf/Indy. Always love being able to say WTF on a broadcast in an official capacity as well. Left side of your screen, let's once again take a look at those movers and shakers. 18 positions up for Russell still. I5G up and down a little bit. Very impressed by Brophy, who's up 8 positions so far. Up into 9th position right now. Lichtenberg in front of him, his next victim. Potential. Wallen, who qualified around where Hollowbo was. Oh, Bennett down onto pit road. So pit road is going to be a very busy place then over the next couple of laps. Henry Bennett, the first of our leaders to blink, and trundles down pit road at what can only be described as a very pedestrian 95 kilometers an hour. A little bit of gamesmanship in pit road then, but Henry Bennett, the first of our big contenders to blink. He's into his box. A little bit slow on entry if we're being honest, but up on the jacks he will go as Adam Blocker, his teammate, follows him in now. Tyler Russell inherits the race lead, but here comes Brandon Traino. They're trying to, for the first time, get into the race lead. Bennett off the jacks will roll out right behind this leading train of cars. But meanwhile, it's I5G in the race lead for the very first time today. AJ Burden in what is a very good looking brand new livery, I must say, powered by Demerit engines. He'll slide his way up into the race lead. Andrew Marquez, Tyler Russell down on pit road. So i5G doing fuel saving. They're clearly trying to do something on the strategy. There's Henry Bennett. Where does his teammate feed out in comparison to him? Blocker's already making his way through turn 2. That's going to work out very nicely for the two teammates. Tyler Russell will lose out even more, though, I fear. Now let's see where Russell is going to feed out. There's Blocker right in front of Bennett. And Bennett will give the draft to his teammate. As i5G out front, still out there on track. So fuel maps maybe being a bit of a factor here. Where's Tyler Russell? Still rolling out of pit road. Now he can get on the button, release that limiter, and finally turn up the power. That's not going to be where he wants to be, though. Where's Bennett? Where's Blocker? There they are. It's actually worked out quite nicely, I think, for Tyler Russell then. Perfect for the number 17 car, the Texas native. Very impressive way to kick off the season as we've got a yellow flag. Caution flies for the first time today. It's Adrian Pinarino. Looks like Victor Santos, the other car, but he might actually have been down on pit road. Very interesting incident. Several cars caught one lap down. And I wonder if, with so many cars in this race, can i5G trap the power slide teammate one lap down? Here's Pinarino in the wall as that caution flew at the worst time for those leading cars that had come down onto pit lane. They flew past him down his inside. And let's jump on board and take a look at the RaceSpotTV replay. Oh, very odd incident there as well. Might be a potential hardware failure, but you can see down the inside, here will come the grouping of Blocker, Bennett, and Russell. What happens now then? Pit road's going to be busy. Doesn't look like any of those cars are able to stay out, so does look as though Blocker and Bennett will be back on the leading lap. They will be at the tail end of the field, though. And after leading the first 36 laps of this race, now it's i5G in the driver's seat. Traino misses his box. Won't cost him as much as the likes of Blocker and Bennett have been compromised, but wow. I am shocked. I am lost for words at that. That is at the start of a season, potentially defining a championship hunt. It was looking like Blocker and Bennett might have had this race in control. But wow. They will get the wave by as we cross the start-finish line then. They will form up in 11th and 12th, respectively. With a whole lot of work to be done. 42 laps completed here at the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. Still half race distance to go. At least one more pit stop on the agenda as well. And out of the 24 cars that took to the green flag, we've got 2 retirements. Adrian Pinarino, obviously mixed up in that most recent caution, and AJ Musselman, who we saw that big wall strike out of turn 4. So as Bennett and Blocker will get their lap back, let's go and take a look at, if we can, at this incident one more time. It is very interesting. Let's see if we can jump on board and get an even closer look at what happens on the steering wheel. You can see he opens up the steering. Ooh, and just maybe a lapse of concentration then. It happens to the best of us. Very unfortunate then for Pinarino. It's looking quite strong as well, was the Brazilian driver. But lights off on the pace car then. It's Demerit at the front of your field, Burden in second, Pavelski in third, Lichtenberg in fourth, Traino in fifth. Alexis Newsom up into sixth. Jason Brophy, Andreas Eek, Chris Wilhite, Marcel Kovacs, the top 10. And in a race where just a few moments ago I was saying that the movers and shakers weren't necessarily that big. One caution, that's all it takes. Question now for Traino is defending his championship. How aggressive does he want to be on this restart? At the front of his field. His teammate, Christopher Demerit, will bring us back to green flag racing. About 56 laps still left to go. Single file, then we will restart. Take a couple of laps for the speeds to build up to around 200 miles an hour. You can already see teammates at the front. It's I5G 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alexis Newsom, the first non-I5G driver. Where is Bennett and where is Blocker? That's going to be the important story here. How can they and Tyler Russell move their way up through the field? Bennett tries to get past Vilde Wallen, who's having none of this. Big separation already forming to the cars in front. 1 second is the delta between Vilde Wallen and Marcel Kovacs, who's in 10th position. This is not an ideal restart for the teammates. Jason Brophy, he's having a pretty fun restart though. Trying to get to the inside of Alexis Newsom. You can see too wide they work further back, trying to dive their way in towards turn 3. Pavelski now leads. As across the line, it will be Demerit and Pavelski side by side. Alexis Newsom has fallen down into 7th. And I think in a very, very comfortable spot still. Brophy will work the inside line, trying to break the I5G stranglehold on the top 5, but it's going to be very difficult for him. In the early portions of this run, you would think to make things work. He will look to the inside once again. I don't think that will work out in his favor, though. Henry Bennett, what's happened to the British Racing Green Machine? Down into 17th, he's dropped, and I think Adam Blocker is going to need Bennett's help to work his way up to the front of the field. So, Bennett versus Hollowbo for 16th position. Lots and lots of intriguing fights to keep our eyes on. At the front of your field, Pavelski, Demerit, Burton, Traino. Lichtenberg still completes the I5G top 5. Alexis Newsom is starting to threaten once again, though. The likes of Brophy, Wilhite, Eek, and Kovacs as well are looming in the background, but of course we are waiting for Adam Blocker to start working his way through some of this traffic. He's past Vilde Wallen now. He's not going to try and fight it back down the back straightaway. Once again, left side of the screen, let's peek into those movers and shakers. Because that yellow flag really has mixed things up. Pavelski, Demerit still swapping for the race lead. Brophy's up 10, Blocker is down 10, Brazil is down 13, Bennett is down 15. The two stories of the race there. Cars that came down pit road, cars that did not come down pit road before that caution. Blocker then up into the top 10 once again. Still a lot of work to do here. Almost at half race distance. A very busy day on RaceSpotTV. First up, it is official IndyCar competition kicking off not just this championship, but the entire schedule of 2021 Season 2. In just about 20 minutes' time, the SimSeats Full Throttle Cup Series will get underway as well. And then in a couple of hours, the third and final Lionheart Series, the Lionheart Speedway Series, will get underway from the land of the rising sun. You can catch it all on RaceSpotTV, so give us a follow. If you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube, hit that red button and the bell next to it to get notified every single time we go live. It's been very, very feisty at the front, but teammates giving each other plenty of respect. You can see Pavelski, he's shifted colors into the orange now. And nice to see a little bit of changing of the guard in some ways. At least we've got some new colors and liveries to take a look at. Demerit engines, of course, powering the I5G team. Andreas Eek and, Adam Blocker, they're side by side. Eek is going to force it around the outside. I don't know if Adam Blocker will be too happy about that one. What a way to kick off a season, though, really. I mean, after what we saw last year with a championship fight being a two-horse race and punches being thrown back and forth, if you'll pardon the boxing analogy here, in a 12-round heavyweight title fight, who's going to throw the first punch here? It's looking like I5G, but for the first half of this race, it really was looking like Powerslide. We were in a very comfortable position, so 12 rounds, 8 of which will count to the championship, of course. So, of course, there's all these weird complications when it comes to tracking the championships in these official competitions, but it's always fun. And for someone like Traino, who's now won one of these titles in not one, not two, but 3 different eras of IndyCar chassis on the iRacing service, it's a incredible record and a testament to his commitment to the series and just why he loves competing in it so much. He'll be looking to make it 3 back-to-back race wins in the iRacing Indy 500 in just a couple of months in the iRacing month of May. Very much looking forward to that storyline because we have talked to him about that. A little bit of pressure. There's only one person that's done it twice in a row. Only one person that's ever won it twice either, in terms of our broadcasted race splits. So there is pressure. I think for Traino, he will revel in it. Where is some of these other drivers? It's still I5G 1 through 5. Bennett is up into 14th, so maybe just lost out momentum a couple of moments ago. Adam Blocker to the inside now of Chris Wilhite. He's trying to get up into 8th. Really enjoying this as cars have to fight their way back through the field. It is fairly cool as well, of course. Track temperature is increased by about 1 degree Celsius, but nothing really significant to speak of, so tires will be lasting well. Cars will be fairly trimmed out as well. And so these cars really, and these drivers have a lot of confidence to work with at this point in the run. Behind, look at this, Marco Brazil back up into the top 10 as well. Good run here for Brazil. Can he charge his way back up through the field? Tyler Russell behind Andreas Eek now, who of course really did find the magic, the key to passing cars at this track in that first stint. And clearly it's run that outside line, rip the momentum, and force Andreas Eek to give you a little bit of space. Behind them, Marcel Kovacs was trying to look to the inside to make it 3 wide, but you'll have to watch as Tyler Russell works past Eek up into 11th. Barney the Flagman really does have a great view here because every time they cross the line, it's like the margin shift. Which car do you want to be? On the inside, on the outside? It's a very difficult question here. Data is being downloaded by all of these drivers. Their testing runs out, trying to see exactly how it's going to play in their favor. Let's jump on board with Matt Pavelski here and give you that indication. You can see he'll be in that draft of demerit. He'll tuck out. And as we cross the line, it's very hard to tell from these onboards. I think Pavelski might have been the car in the race lead. We'll take a look at these aerial looks brought to us by ATVO, graphical partner at RaceSpotTV, in just a moment's time. Shout out to Nick Thyssen, Kevin Niatola, and Simon Grossman for a lot of hard work on our brand new Racebox graphics package. If Simon Povey is watching. Finally, we got a vertical ticker for you. Here we go, though. Let's see if we can take a look at this aerial look. This time around, it does look as though demerit was slightly further in front. I think last time it was Pavelski who would have led at the line. So, data being downloaded. And for these drivers, they've got the next 40 laps or so to strategize and plan how they want to approach the final, let's say 10 miles here. It's going to be those final 5 laps because obviously that point of no return will come when a caution will end things, and 10 miles might separate someone like Adam Blocker in 8th position from a race victory. He'll look to the inside of Alexis Newsom, bottle her up behind Brendan Lichtenberg. And so Blocker is going to try and break that stranglehold. Brophy has done a good job. Brophy is up into 4th now, so we just turned our eyes away from the private label Team Hype driver for a moment and manages to get past your defending series champion, but really are in for a very intriguing final run. Do have to keep in mind as well, of course, Adam Blocker will need to come down onto pit road a couple of laps before the likes of Matt Pavelski out front, because he pitted before that caution. And I'm going to knock on all the wood when I say this once again. It's been an extremely clean race so far. Only that one caution to speak of, and that was a single car incident to boot. Here comes Jason Brophy, though, to the inside. He looks, and he gets past AJ Burden into the podium positions for the Team Talent driver. He's worked his way up through the field as well. And so now, finally, that stranglehold gets broken. Andrew Wood onto pit road, of course, up into the wall early in the race. Now on a very different strategy. Still will owe us one more pit stop as well, unfortunately. Ooh, looked like, who was that? Who's that in the wall? Alexis Newsom, I do believe. Oh no, what a shame. It was a superb drive for the number 21 car. Can we stay green? Yes, we can. Newsom resets back onto pit road, as you can see there. Andrew Wood. I'm going to have a couple of replays to take a look at, I think. First, let's not let this one slide. Andrew Wood. Ooh, low downforce in the super speedway configuration, and Woodith finds out just how difficult it can be applying the power. Let's now check out then that incident for Alexis Newsom, and oh no, it's contact with Adam Blocker. We'll have to get another look at this one. Blocker may be driving a bit defensive. He's onto pit road as well now, so maybe damage for him. And let's throw this replay machine back slightly further if we can. There we go. And let's see if we can figure out. Marco Brazil very easily able to get into turn 3 safely. He looks to the outside, slightly chops down on Newsom. Blocker just comes up the track, you know. And it's always difficult to call incidents with your teammate. But, not exactly sure what happens here. Let's see if we can look at it from this one and super slow-mo it like they would in Europe, and you can see here Newsom is very much just running her own line, and it's wheel-to-wheel contact. Blocker gets away with it, but clearly whatever damage he had was not as minor as it would indicate. We'll jump to the live pictures. You can see he's still in his pit box, and after taking a very impressive pole position, my oh my, disaster for Powerslide Motorsports. Jason Brophy then, he'll be the one trying to take advantage now. He's up into 2nd. Pavelski has fallen behind. Demerit has fallen behind as well. A couple of cars struggling at this point in the run then. About to cross the line to complete lap 67, so 2/3 into this race. Jason Brophy leads across the line then. But it is Burton back to the race lead. Tyler Dubois into his pit box for what should be his final stop then. He goes 2 laps down as a result of it, rolling off pit road right now. Still side by side, Brophy leads across the line once more. I'm very curious how this is going to play out right now. He tucks back into line, but of course, the only time you need to lead is at the checkered flag. And I like using the data being downloaded analogy here, because it really is a kind of machine learning kind of an approach. You try everything in the opening stages of the race. You see what sticks, you see what doesn't stick, and by the end of the race, you've trained yourself to figure out what's going to work, and hopefully you are correct. But with 30 laps to go, then one pit stop still left for the leading contenders. No longer I5G 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's now a Jason Brophy up into second for private label Team Hype. And he's battling with AJ Burden for this race lead. Really enjoying this season opener in the IndyCar iRacing Open Championship. Defending champion Brandon Traino in third position. His main championship rival still stationary on pit road. It looks like day done for Adam Blocker. Very unfortunate there with that contact with Alexis Newsom. But other than the one caution we've had, I mean, rather lucky to have a number of single car incidents that have not brought out the caution. The incident, of course, with Musselman early in the race. And then you had Andrew Wood up into the wall, managed to get that car onto pit road. He cycles himself around 2 laps down from the race leader. It really is some entertaining stuff right now. You got Pavelski on the outside line. Where's Tyler Russell, you ask yourself? He's only up into 8th, but right on the back of Henry Bennett as they go side by side. Now, these two cars have also worked their way back up through the field. Let's go on board at the front of your field and see if we can take a look at the rearward shot from AJ Burden here. He's got a great shot of it. Mirrors filled with the bright yellow machine. His teammates unable to close that gap just yet. Oh, look at this wing end plate camera as well. Look at the lines being taken by Pavelski and Traino. Shout out to Tyler Maxson. Really enjoying this camera pack. Shout out to Esteban Ballo, TrackCams 22 as well, for his own track cameras as well. Marco Brazil onto pit road then. He blinks. Once again, one of the first cars to do so. Chris Wilhite, the Ohio native, follows him down, as does Victor Santos. You can see their left side of the screen, 14th and 15th, as Marco Brazil rolls back out onto track in 17th position. Got some clean air to work with as well. There are those cars up on the jacks getting their service done. Meanwhile, the race leaders across the start-finish line. Brophy leads at the line once again. You know what? I'm usually the one who puts my co-commentators on the spot. I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to predict Jason Brophy takes the race win here. Hopefully I didn't just put the commentator's curse down on him, but Brophy slides down to the inside and will inherit the race lead once more. We'll take a look at the aerial shot. And you can see if this was the last lap, if this was the last lap of the race, it's close, but Brophy does take home the season opener win. Pit stops continue. Robert Malachek onto pit road. Andrew Marquez as well, stationary up on his jacks in just a few moments' time there. Looks like about 8 seconds, these final pit stops. As once more, let's look at this aerial look and see if Brophy's going to lead at the line. Doesn't look, though, as though he will, because obviously not in that draft. And indeed, it's AJ Burden who leads this time at the line. Obviously, you can't count out the likes of Brandon Traino, Matt Pavelski, 3rd and 4th. They're riding around for now. All it takes is sliding through your pit box to lose out. As Brandon Traino found out in that caution cycle. Of course, he lost a couple of positions because he slid through his pit box. But so far, top 10 yet to come down onto pit road. Now, you know what as well? Don't count out someone like Tyler Russell. You can see they're ripping the outside line still. He's only up 13 positions so far after being cycled back, but 1.3 seconds behind the race leader. Very comfortable making passes in traffic, so watch out for him to potentially be somewhat of a factor. Looks like Henry Bennett coming down onto pit road in the British Racing Green machine. Oh no, we've got a car around. Not perfect timing for Bennett. We're going to stay green flag running, though. I think a couple of cars probably breathing a huge sigh of relief here. And it's off of pit road, trying to build up that speed. just trying to get onto the banking, maybe beaches the car slightly. And rear ends the Dallara IR18 into the wall. That was Oscar Sid in the 12 car. He'll have to return onto pit road. But Henry Bennett will open the floodgates. Here comes Tyler Russell, next car onto pit road. You can see Bennett off the jacks, rolling off, back up to racing speed as well. And so with 20 laps to go, one more pit stop left for your leading contenders. Matt Hollowbo, the next car down onto pit road as well. Brophy, Burden, when do they come down onto pit road? Brophy's the first to blink then. Team car still out there. I5G once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This pit strategy is going to be something to behold. So your leading cars then. How many laps do they choose to stay out? How many laps can they stay out? That might be the more pertinent question at this point in time. Treno down to the inside, not slowing down, so stays out there for at least one more lap. Oh, and yellow flag once again. I was just wondering what was about to happen. And my oh my, I need to stop thinking quite clearly, because every time I'm up here in the commentary box, someone has to get the short end of the stick. RaceSpotTV replay then to cycle through. It's Oscar Sid once more, and it's mirror incident as well off of pit road. This time spinning up into the track, unfortunately. And I think as a result, the iRacing marshals very quick to throw out that caution. It is an easy mistake to make. It's you can see here he actually is on the banking before he's even at the blend line cone. But I mean, very, very shocking a turn of events then. Once again, car stuck, one lap down. And I5G, I don't know if fuel saving was their strategy, but you know what? It might need to be for the rest of the season. Brandon Treno, defending champion, finds himself out front once again. I think there's going to be lots of celebrations in the i5G Discord. They might need a i5G radioactive kind of a deal as well. Open up the vault. Break the NDAs on those. They will come down onto pit road this time around for the final time in today's race. And indeed, you can see there they come. Reminder again, it is a very, very busy Monday here on RaceSpotTV. Lots of oval action, so if you want to stick around on a Monday, got some leagues coming up. First up, the Real Sim Racing SimSeats Cup Series, which I think should be getting underway right about now, so don't head over just yet. We've got about 16 laps to go, about 13 when we go back to Green Flag Racing. Very interesting finale coming up here. Then later tonight, Lionheart Speedway Series. That should be a very entertaining season opener from the land of the rising sun. Twin Ring Motegi. And I'm going to break out one of my facts about Motegi at this point in time, because I was going to keep it around till the opening of the Lionheart broadcast, but you know, it's such a fitting stat. You know, obviously Twin Ring Motegi built by Honda in dedication effectively to IndyCar. It doesn't make sense, if we're being honest, to really build an oval around a road course because of all the extra complications it brings. But who else but Dan Weldon, Lionheart himself, that took the first ever win for Honda on the oval back in 2004. And obviously, you know, a series that pays tribute and honors his great legacy. It really is going to be really cool to get back underway. Break out the DW12 as well. Excited to see how that one will race. Sorry, I got a little bit broken up there, because not necessarily about Dan Weldon, but of course, tragic news over the weekend that legendary F1 commentator, voice of Formula One for so many, Murray Walker, passed away at the age of 97, and he will live on as the standard for motorsports commentators for decades and for years to come. And it was a big shock when that happened, and so yeah, not much else really to say, but glad to be up here in the booth, and glad that at least 12 more weeks of IndyCar official competition this season. Glad that, thanks to the very generous contribution of an anonymous member of the IndyCar community, that we will have full and uninterrupted coverage of this series, because you all know, RaceSpot, we love IndyCars. And, oh no! Marco Brazil, what's just happened there? Oh my word! Drama as we're about to go back to green flag racing. I think the lights are back on the caution. On the pace car, excuse me. So one more lap we're about to have. Wow. And it's as they're catching up with the tail end of the field. Brazil, trying to slow down in time, locks up his brakes, and let's jump on board here. You can see Bennett moves to the inside, trying to slow down. Oh, and you know what? It's the engine. Watch this. Watch as he tries to shift down. Right about as he drops. Oh, there we go. As he shifts down, car steps out from underneath him, and wow. Marco Brazil into the wall. Day done then for the Brazilian native. Whew. Alright. No longer emotional about Murray. Now we can focus in on the next 13 laps or so. Wow. Whew. That is a first. I don't think I've seen that one before. And very, very unfortunate, because, you know, Brazil was in a very strong position up in 11th spot. Him and Bennett might have looked like cars that could have driven themselves up into the top 5. So, wow. As Christian Steele points out, yes, absolutely brutal. And, I don't think Ericsson was anywhere near him in that unfortunate incident. But okay, back to green flag racing. We will go with 14 laps to go. Brazil, one of your contenders, finds himself out of the race at the front. Defending champion will bring us back to green flag racing. Behind him then, a string of teammates ready to help him out. So 28 miles left to go. Cars will build up their speed. And once again, caution's not just dramatic for the fact that cars got stuck a couple of laps down. Caution's dramatic in this case because the car's having issue. Pavelski with a very bold move to the inside of his teammate. He's not hanging around. Up into the race lead as we cross the start-finish line to complete lap number 87. If you're Brendan Lichtenberg in this point in time, you know what? You've got one job, one responsibility. That's stopping Andreas Eek from getting down your inside. He's not going to be able to hold on for very long. Here comes Jason Brophy. Here comes... Oh, that's Marcel Kovacs as well. He's really benefited from these cautions, and Kovacs might be looking at a very strong top 10 finish. Eek is up into 5th position, though. I wonder if Lichtenberg can hold off the Team Talent machines. 3 wide into turn 1. For a moment, they were squeezing one another. Exhilarating stuff here at the Auto Club Speedway. Hasn't hosted IndyCars for so many years, but every time we come back here on the virtual iRacing service, you get reminded why it produced one of the best IndyCar races ever. And the final race that it held, it will no longer be possible to return IndyCars to the real track in a couple of years' time, but we will forever be able to come back here and race under the night lights. Traino back into the race lead. Pavelski second, Demerit third, AJ Burden in fourth, and now it's Brendan Lichtenberg and Jason Brophy side by side for fifth position. Henry Bennett, he's down into 12th. Tyler Russell in 10th. Not sure if those cars are going to be able to use the last 20 miles here to really make up too much ground. It is 20 miles to go at the line. 10 laps here at the Auto Club Speedway in our season opening round of the IndyCar iRacing Open Championship. And what I'm being told is one of the strongest strength of fields that we might have this season as well. We started with 24 Dallara IR18s, just 18 of them still out there on the track right now. But you know what? About 8 of them in contention for the race lead. I did say Jason Brophy was one to watch out for. He's gone to the outside line, trying to get past Brendan Lichtenberg once again. In the dirty air from both Burden and Demerit in front of him. And on board, let's jump with Brendan Lichtenberg, who will slide up into line. And this is where team communication might honestly come into effect. We were expecting Blocker versus Traino for this season, but you know what? Look at this. Many names waiting to be stood up and counted at this point in time as well. Jason Brophy once again has driven his way up through these i5G teammates around Demerit and Lichtenberg up into 4th place for the private label Team Hype driver. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but there is tension in the air. Had a couple of good races last season on these bigger ovals. Of course, Michigan delivered some incredible battles between Powerslide and i5G. This time it's Jason Brophy versus the might of i5G. Stuck on the inside, Demerit will try and get around the outside. He'll get back up into 4th position at this point in time. It's Traino and Pavelski dueling it out for the race lead. And you could, if we had a camera angle that would show it, you can kind of see the top 4 cars all running different lines. There's very little room for any of these cars behind to find clean air. 6 laps to go. You can see there's a good indication. They're almost 4 wide coming off the corner. Oh, this is intense. I love this. It might be between Pavelski and Traino at the front. Burden and Demerit unable to really make too much headway. Here comes momentum on the outside, potentially for Burden. He'll get into the draft of Pavelski for a second. I don't think, actually, it's going to be too much of a factor just yet. Pavelski led across the line that time around. And just a reminder, guys, this is not just the first race of the entire iRacing season, but the first race in 12 very interesting championship races. So if you want to watch more of this, stay tuned on Monday nights, because it really is some of the greatest action that we have in official competition. And it also is the first race of the week. It means that all of these drivers are ready and prepared with their A games. i5G, they really did bring their A+ game in terms of strategy. Open setup, open in-car tools as well. So of course, none of these drivers potentially going to be using exactly the same settings. It's not just about the team, it's about the quality of the drivers as well. With 3 laps to go, it's still i5G 1, 2, 3, 4 for Powerslide Motorsports. Qualified with 2 of their cars in the top 3. Unfortunately for them, strategy did not work in that favor. And so for Adam Blocker, he starts a championship. A quest to reclaim a championship. Not sure if there's a better way to put that, to be honest, but it's a championship he's become very accustomed to. He won all of our 2020 iRacing Open Championships last year. Very aggressive move on Alexis Newsom. He took himself out of the race. 2 laps to go, 4 miles to come. Here from the virtual Auto Club, it's still Traino and Pavelski side by side. I don't think Jason Brophy is really going to be able to make too much work. Let's jump onto the cockpit camera from Jason Brophy, tucked up right in that right portion of the aero screen, and you can see nowhere to go, is too wide, too deep. We enter the final corner for the penultimate time. Almost 3 wide are the teammates, and this is going to be absolutely incredible. The 2 cautions that we had weren't because of some of the racing action. These guys will fight clean. These guys will fight hard. 3 wide into turn 1 for the final time we go to kick off the season. Pavelski, Demerit, Traino, the top 3 contenders. Don't think Jason Brophy is going to be a factor to think about. It's going to be Traino versus Pavelski. Demerit makes it 3 wide. Burton tries to come to the inside. Absolutely incredible scenes. Traino's around. Contact between the teammates. It's going to be Matt Pavelski that takes victory in the season opener. And for Brandon Traino, Adam Blocker, wow. We expected them to stamp their foot down on this championship once again. Both of them involved in incidents in this race. Brandon Traino starts his championship defense down in 14th position. Wow. Wow. What is the unwritten rule in all of racing? Do not hit your teammate. And unfortunately there, teammates hit each other. Let's spool up this replay right off the bat and take a look at this final lap before we take a look at these final race results, because I thought it was going to go one way, and it didn't go that way at all. It's Pavelski and Burton who take first and second respectively. What happens between the teammates? I've almost lost my voice, and I've still got one broadcast to go. Coming out of turn 4, Brandon Traino loses it by himself. Slides up into the path of his teammate Christopher Demerit. Jason Brophy able to take advantage to slide up onto that third and final step of the podium. But my word, Brandon Traino, an uncharacteristic mistake there to start off the season. And a race where 400 more meters, Brandon Traino starts this season off at the front of the championship standings. Really sent it in deep, trying to get to the front of the field, came unstuck, and Matt Pavelski there to take advantage. What a season opener here from the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. Pavelski for just about 2.5 tenths of a second, Jason Brophy in third. Final step of the podium. Wasn't as close between Burton and Brophy as you might have thought it could have been. Lichtenberg across the line in fourth. 3 i5G cars in the top 4. They'll take that, but it could have been oh so much better. Andreas Eek up through the field, up into 5th. Great drive there from him. And Marcel Kovacs, entrant into the series for the very first time on a Monday night. Very impressive 6th position. Andrew Marquez for Loose Nut Racing, brand new livery for his car. Nice to see some consistent results still, up into 7th. Phil DeWallen in 8th. Tyler Russell into 9th. We saw him running around at the front of the field in a number of occasions. Unfortunate there. Victor Santos will round out the top 10. And we'll work our way through the next page of results. Chris Wilhite, the final car on the lead lap, 11th. And then you can see the cars that didn't make it to the line. Traino, Demerit, Bennett, Wood, and Robert Malcheca all 1 lap down. Tyler Dubois all by himself 2 laps down. Oscar Seed, we saw him bringing out the second caution today in 18th position for him. Matt Hollowbo 19th. Marco Brazil crashing under yellow, unfortunately for him, under our second caution. 20th for him. Adam Blocker, very disappointing day to be down in 21st. Alexis Newsom, good to see back on a Monday night for her. Contact with Blocker drops her to 22nd. Adrian Pinarino in 23rd. And then AJ Musselman in 24th. He'll be regrouping and re-racking himself, though, because in just a hour and a half's time or so, he's heading over to the land of the rising sun and the virtual twin ring Motegi to get underway for the Lionheart Speedway Series. But we've got post-race coverage coming up right now. let's go trackside and talk to some of these drivers. And let's bring in, straight off the bat, Matt Pavelski. Matt, first up, do we have a copy with you?
You do have me.
Well, Matt, I'm not really sure what to say other than wow, and not really sure you thought that was the way that final lap was going to go.
No, I mean, I thought I made a mistake letting Brandon get back to the inside on the back straightaway. And then I just figured I would try to somehow get dudes inside in turn 3 or try to get the runoff in turn 4. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he clipped the apron or something, but yeah, I mean, I was going to try to drag race by him. Clearly not the way that you really want that to go, especially when it's your teammate that's spinning in front of you. So, I mean, a little bittersweet. I'll take it, but it should have been a little bit more exciting down there to the line.
And what a way to kick off the season. I mean, we had 2 cautions, but neither of them were really because of the on-track action necessarily. So, as we look at this very interesting calendar that's ahead of us, how are you thinking about this season? It was really good to have all of your teammates jumping into this race and really showing up in force for this season opener.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule is going to be a little scary, and by a little, I mean extremely. Especially with the Nürburgring next week. That's kind of haunting my dreams currently. And then, of course, we have the new color schemes going for us. It's the same old base paint, but we decided with the new numbers that we'd make some new colors. So that kind of factored into our decision to run tonight a little bit, if I'm honest. But I think, honestly, it's going to really be week by week and trying to manage your time, especially as we get closer to May. Because, I mean, you know as well as anybody how packed time-wise May is.
And I'm really looking forward to it as well. It should be a really entertaining month of May. I think we've just got the final build. I'm not an insider, so I don't actually have any information here. I'm assuming testing has now commenced, and it's, like you say, full focus now on not just your efforts, but also your teammates, Traino's, in that attempt to go back-to-back 3 times. Can you tell us a little bit about not what you're prepping, but why it's so important? Because we know why it's important. Some of the guys watching who saw an incredible race there might be wondering why there's so much work that goes into these setups.
I mean, for us, IndyCar we don't have a Pro Series, and for us, we get that one month out of the year where we really got to sink all of our time into it, and we know that everybody's going to show up with the best of the best of the best. And not only that, but I mean, in the past, we've also seen other really good drivers show up. I know Real Fallows used to run it, and I mean, I won it 5 years ago, but I mean, every single time we go to May, it's almost like a familiar friend. It's something that once you win it once, it never really leaves you because at that moment you pretty much reach the peak of this car. Because I mean, again, it's not like we get the black stripe experience. We really have to kind of condense that into 1 month. And so I mean, especially with Brandon having won it twice in a row and all the success we've had there, it is super important for us to continue that. And also, it's just a lot of fun to be successful at that track.
It really is, and qualifying is such a unique experience, and very much looking forward to that as well. But congratulations, Matt. Really exciting race, and looking forward to the rest of the season as well.
Thank you.
So that was race winner Matt Pavelski. Dramatic fashion there at the line. Let's bring in his teammate, AJ Burden. A second place there, AJ. New colors on your car. Maybe a little bit of luck there as well.
Yeah, I had a new car tonight, just like Matt, and it was really quick. Got to thank Brendan for the paint, Traino for the car, because it was fantastic. Really good result. I was pleased with a top 5, quite frankly, but P2, really happy personally.
What do you think about the specific weather that we had here? It was pretty cool, and I think that contributed to a lot of the racing that we had, but a lot of close racing. The 2 cautions that we had, not related to that at all, so it was a lot of respect being shown, and really, I think that looked like a fun race for you guys as well, to be able to adapt to everything that was going on.
Yeah, it was really good. We were out front, so we were able to control it for quite a while after the first caution. The track temp and the conditions, I think it helped the product, because even in these cool temps and dirty air, the car was super tight behind others. So you could see cars on the bottom really couldn't make any moves, and the outside seemed to be the preferred line to pass cars. Yeah, it's like, I think if it was hotter, it probably would have been really strung out and wouldn't have made a good spectacle for the fans. So I'm kind of glad it was these temps.
Well, next week, I didn't get all my Nordschleife mentions in, so I'm going to ask you about that. We're going to see you trying to challenge that very, very tough circuit. It's what, 16 miles or so, 160 corners. You feeling up for the challenge, or are you going to be, next time we see you on the oval in round number 3?
I'd normally be too scared to challenge that track, but with these new colours and how fast the car was today, I think it's a good reason to show it off again.
Ooh,
I might well be there.
I like the sound of that. So looking forward to that, AJ, and really great to see you guys show up in force today. Congrats on the second place finish.
Cheers.
So AJ Burden for Team i5G comes across the line in second. Let's quickly talk to Jason Brophy and the private label Team Hype driver. Jason, interesting race there. You had a little bit of a challenge there in the form of 5 i5G cars to make your way through. Turns out on the last lap, you only needed to get past a couple of them there.
Yeah, that was as frustrating a last 40 to 50 laps as I've driven in a while, because it was just i5G car, and if I tried to make any move to the inside, I was going to get freight trained by the ones behind me, so I had to be perfect.
How did you make your way up through the field, Jason? Because we saw a couple of cars able to do it. You, Tyler Russell, are really the big guys that we saw. Was the outside the place to be? The place where there was the most clean air as well?
The outside, it felt like the clean air mattered a little less. Like, especially on newer tires, I could hang on the outside even if I had, not great air. Because we were flying. Like, just the speed was so high running with the draft. That you had to pick your spots. If you were going to go to the inside, you had to be sure that you were going to get the whole inside. Like, there wasn't going to be anybody. And so, especially toward the middle back of the pack early in the race, I was kind of picking my way up through the inside and taking them as they come. As I got closer to the front, obviously I got a little help with the first caution coming out as I was coming in, and so I could stay out and circle back around. The outside became the way, especially against all the i5G drivers. I had to send it and get a wheel to the outside of them, or else, yeah.
Well, I'll ask you about the month of May as well now, Jason, because we've had the final, what we hope is the final update to this car in the last week. How excited are you about this again? Because it's that time of year, the preparations begin, the butterflies start to form as well, and it's one of my favorite times because qualifying is such a unique experience. That 1 week where everyone is just working so hard, it's like nothing else, and it really is almost like a drug.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, don't want to give away too much, but work has started, and it's difficult. This year's going to be a lot different than years past. I feel like it's a whole new tire model, whole new car. So, but with the help of everybody, I think it's 2 months till May. 2 months from now, we'll be seeing the first Q run somewhere around there, leading up to that big event. So obviously, that's going to take a lot of the focus. Still got to be pretty good. Thank Chin here, because this CSS set was really good tonight. I raced my way up through there, so want to give him credit and Liam for helping build. We worked on the sets over the weekend, but all told, good race there.
Well, congrats, Jason. Good third place finish there. A very dramatic finish as well. Looking forward to seeing you a couple more times on a Monday night this season as well.
I noticed you didn't say it the Nürburgring because you're smart.
Yeah, I know better to put that on certain people. Don't worry.
Yeah, so thank you, Arjuna, for broadcast.
Thanks, Jason, for joining us. Like I said, we didn't get all those Nordschleifer mentions in. We will be heading to the Green Hell in a week's time. You get a look here at that final lap one more time. Let's go take a look at the schedule very quickly before we wrap up here from the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. And once again, I don't know what it is about this new tire model, but last season, we kicked it off, I think it was Michigan, with a very entertaining race as well. This time, Auto Club Speedway, just as good, under the night lights, and wow. I'm excited, I'm intrigued, and this season is going to have a little bit of everything. Before we go, I want to remind you one more time that you can follow us on social media for all of your sim racing action at RaceSpotTV on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. And if you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube, first, what are you doing? Hit that red button and the bell next to it, and you'll get notified every single time we go live with a great sim racing series we get to cover. On behalf, though, of the team at RaceSpotTV, thank you for tuning in here live on a Monday night. As always, delighted to kick off a brand new week of iRacing competition with the IndyCars and the strength of field race. We'll be back in 1 week's time from the virtual Nürburgring Nordschleife, where hopefully I'll be joined by my co-commentator, Lorenzo Bonder. On behalf then of the entire team at RaceSpotTV, I'd like to thank TrackCams22.com for the TV cameras for today's broadcast, and Tyler Max and RaceSpot's own for additional car cameras. Live timing for today's event was provided by our partners at timing71.org. Head over there to follow along with the best in the real and virtual worlds of motorsport using their world-class suite of data analysis tools. What a way to kick off the season and a championship run all the way to the streets of Detroit. Once again, for the team at RaceSpotTV, thank you for tuning in. Lots more oval action to come though, so don't go anywhere on a Monday. Stay tuned for the other stuff we've got coming.